Hello, hello, and welcome to another movie review. I know one. I've seen several movies and everything. And just I've seen a bunch of these movies. I need to make reviews of them, and so I'm gonna start pumping out a bunch of movie reviews. All right. This movie I just watched is called The Wonderland, and you're probably wondering, okay, with the title of The Wonderland, it has to relate to like Alice in Wonderland. No. All right, this is a Japanese anime-based movie, which I'm going to be making a lot of reviews on. Um, I say anime movie, but Japanese movie, I assume. It's a story about a girl named Akiana and her, I guess, older, not exactly friend, but a shopkeep who's like a free spirit or chai, going with this guy named Hippopot. Dang it, I can't say his name. A Hippocratic Oath. I don't. The guy with a hat. He has a hat and everything. Uh, Going down to this alt thing because Akiana, she puts her hand like in a one of those like a stone type thing you used to make as a kid and you have your handprint. She does that and he says, oh, you're the green goddess of the wind, and she's like, what? Well, I'm not anything. And through the cellar they go into this alternate world, alternate reality, where she's got to like save the prince so they can do the water in the world. um at first, when I was watching the movie, I was like, okay, starting off, uh, it's a little weird, especially in the beginning. In the beginning, they show her cat. Nothing unusual. It's a cat. It's a boy cat, and they make that painfully obvious. They show his testicles, his balls, and I have to say, I don't think I've ever seen in any animation form them actually showing that of a male cat before. So that was weird. And then the cat gets up and wakes her up by sticking his butt in her face, which is like, I, I, I mean, I've seen cats do that. Our cat Nico that we had used to do that to my brother all the time. But it's just kind of like, really thinking that it's just kind of like, why? It was bad. That was weird. And then because her mother says, "Oh, your birthday present's at Cheese Place," and so she goes to Cheese Place, and Cheese like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a month," and she starts feeling her backside, and is like, "Oh, you haven't filled in yet." And I was like, "Who says that to a girl? She's like 10. What? Why would you even do that? That's just what? Why?" I mean, I get it. It's a Japanese thing, I guess, to do that. I don't know. When I talk about Penguin Highway, you'll see. But it's just kind of like, why? Why do that in a movie? Why say that to a 10-year-old girl? I'm assuming she's about 10. That's what she looks like. But it's just kind of like, what the heck? Uh, but it's just kind of like, what? It does pay off, though, because when they get to this, later on, they get to this little world, and there's a area where they have to do something, and they pass through this, like, basically, as they say, an immigration office. It's run by cats, and this cat that's smoking a cigar, basically like a judge cat, looks a lot like her cat back at home. He's like, this cat is like, she has done a very bad crime, and the other's like, what? She pulled a cat's tail, because when the cat did that to her in the beginning, she pulled his tail, and all of a sudden she turns into kind of like a cat with a tail, and they start pulling on her tail to make her feel like how it makes a cat feel to do that. I just kind of like, they had to make her a furry briefly, didn't they? What is it with the cat girls in Japan? I don't want to know. But no offense to anything Japan-wise. It's just cultural view. There's certain things cultural. I'll get into that in a moment. But they pull it on her tail, and then when she says, "I'll never do it again," they're like, "Okay." Then he sat on her face. He put his butt in her face. I was like, okay, so that's why they did that in the beginning. Okay, all right. I don't want to spoil everything that happens, but it doesn't really have anything to do with Alice in Wonderland, besides that effect that it's gone underground, like a Wonderland type of thing. I guess the guy, because he has a hat and everything, is kind of like, well, he's kind of like a stand-in for the Mad Hatter in a way. His little assistant Peepo is kind of like maybe the mouse. I thought, okay, maybe this. They showed something briefly. I was like, is that the white rabbit? But no, it was a sheep symbol with a scarf. There's these sheep and everything. Like, oh, they're really comfy and stuff like that. But I mean, artwork throughout the movie is great. It's wonderful. Really looking at everything, and I have to say, it made me realize, how much hand drawn stuff looks better than CGI as far as making things look pretty and stuff. Like you see it in my background, the Anna Green Gables anime that was made. That's not the White Wave Delight, but you just see that kind of picture and everything is that kind of quality in the movie. It they went through an area that reminded me of the White Wave Delight, but it was all yellow with the yellow trees and everything. And I was just like, see, that's beautiful. That stuff's cool. CGI is just kind of like, you don't get that kind of effect with the hand painted or hand drawn stuff. That's just like, heck, it might have been all CGI and it just looked realistic, which is like, why can't we do just stuff like that then? As opposed to just like, it's obviously computer generated. Yeah, it's not that computer generated stuff can't be pretty, and it's just there's a tastefulness with the art style, hand drawn. It's just much better. Okay, that's just me. But the soundtrack is also great, mind you. Soundtrack's great. My favorite thing is when they went into the water. I'm not going to give up too many spoilers, but when they went into the water, they're able to like kind of brave into the water. The stuff with the koi fish and everything. Koi fish, I guess, is a more Asian thing because I see them here in Korea as well. So you see all these things, the koi fish and everything like that. It's just like, okay, it's interesting. And again, about the cultural stuff, you see some cultural norms. It's not, I guess that's, in a kind of Far East type thing about the bowing, like when you hand something to someone and take it back, you kind of bow a little bit. You see Akiana do that, several times throughout the movie. When she enters our house, she takes off her shoes. Because in American point of view, we just walk inside our house with shoes on. It's just like, okay. But, over here it's like, no, you take your shoes off before you enter and leave them by the door. We don't really think that in a lot of ways. We just wear our shoes wherever we're going to wear our shoes inside the house. I must admit, I've grown to kind of like that. It's like, I'm going to take my shoes off whenever I enter the house if there's carpet in it. It's just like, no, that's something different. But overall, I did like the movie. I did. It's just a couple weird things are like, huh? And I will, again, not spoiling the ending. The ending reservation, the thing there is like, huh. It's a little weird. And I was like, I don't exactly understand it, but I was like, okay. I mean, you can, well, not as a spoiler, you can tell throughout the thing, but you can kind of tell her mother's been there before because different things. You can tell that. So I was like, all right, okay. So I do it. How I watch it is on Amazon. It's free with Prime, but it has ads. So I was like, oh, great. Some ads like every 20 minutes. It's almost like a 2-hour flick. But I do recommend watching it. A lot of great artwork, interesting kind of storyline, even though it got confusing somewhere. I was like, what is the purpose? What is this villain doing? Oh yeah, the villain. I like the way the villain looked because it looked like a Grimm out of Ruby. I was like, well, that'd be kind of an interesting looking Grimm out of Ruby or something. That'd be interesting. And then, everything is like you see what his motivations were, and I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. When everything gets revealed, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. First, I was thinking, is it kind of going to Wizard of Oz type thing with the Tin Man? But I wasn't really doing that or anything. So I don't know if the Wonderland is really a representation of it, besides it being underground, kind of like Alice in Wonderland. It's like world underneath your world, but it's interesting. Again, you'll like it for the artwork. You'll like it for kind of the story and everything. It gets a little confusing, but again, it's got pretty humorous moments and everything. With they'll put on the. I was just about to pause it for something when they're driving through, and there's like, oh, it's cold, and then all of a sudden they put on these sheep. The sheep wool outfits to stay warm, and I was like, what? It just happened so suddenly. I was like, what? It was funny. Oh, I do got to talk about this, and I would say this film really helped me appreciate this. And I could say this about so far all the Japanese animation movies that I've seen. The small moments, like an American movie moment, it's always kind of ongoing. I don't mean quiet moments in a way, small moments, and it's not just like an American point of view. Like I'll use the movie Shrek because that's what I'm thinking about right now. You have, Shrek and Donkey. Fiona's, in the place for the night. Shrek and Donkey. Shrek's talking about like, big eerie monster. Everyone gets to judge me before they even know me. Out in that thing, that's the closest as you get to a slow moment or a quiet moment or anything. Whereas this, I've seen Neighbor Totoro, Penguin Highway, Spirit of the Way, even in the moments where there's busy, like Tiro in the thing with the soot spiders and everything, and all this stuff with the trees and My Neighbor Totoro. Just there's quiet moments, and they're just soft, and they're just there. It's like a natural moment that you would have in anything. They're just like in this movie. They're just driving through. You see the scenery. You actually get to experience everything. I know from an American point of view, I guess it's more plot driven. And if it is slow moments, like when Shrek and Fiona are kind of like they're kind of getting along, they had a song in the background. Yeah, it's humorous and you see everything, but you're not seeing the environment. You're not taking everything in. Whereas in these past four movies in these Japanese movies I've seen, it's like, yeah, you're still following the plot, but you're taking everything in. You're taking in the environment. You're just going back and sipping tea, and everything's just so detailed and all those different things, these quiet moments. I just love these quiet moments that these films just kind of are filled with. Even when something's going on, it's just there, and you get to enjoy it. Whereas American thing is like, plot, go. Yeah, everything's great, go. Everything's beautiful, go. Whereas this is like, you're actually taking time. I enjoy that. I must say, I enjoy that a lot. So go see the Wonderland, and if you've seen it, tell me what you think about it, and we'll see you in the next one.